Yeah. Yeah, welcome in. Welcome back to another episode of the Format Podcast Live. Saturday night edition.
Welcome to the Format Pod. Oh, you did it already. My bad.
I did it already. What up, Transformer? What's good?
What's good, my boy? You all right?
Maintaining. As you can see, let me move the mic out the way. I am repping for the American Athletic Conference champions, United States Army Black Knights.
Hey,
Let's go.
You know what? Just 1 second. Give me 1 second. Hold on.
No doubt. Go get it. Let's go. And guess what? Next week, go Army beat Navy. We're going, as Shannon Sharp like to say, we're going to put foots in them. I can't wait.
All right, because I don't.
What's good, gentlemen?
I don't have no army paraphernalia, but I'm getting this. I got this hoodie from my father. So, hey.
There you go. What up, Mr. Transformer Senior?
You know what I'm saying?
Hey. Transformer Senior was good.
Hey, man, we not in it. So, hey, y'all go get it, bro. Let's go get it.
You in it next week. We about to, like Shannon Sharp say, we're going to put foots in them.
Hey, man, listen, bro. I'm trying to show some love here, man. Show some damn love.
I appreciate it, brother. I appreciate it. Yes, I am. I'm very happy my guys got the job done today.
Yeah.
Was it 45-19? They won. No. That was the Iowa State game. But I think they did score 45 against Tulane last night. It was last night. I'm sorry. In the AAC championship game. So, shouts to Army. It would take a miracle for them to get in the 12-team playoff. That's not going to happen, but it's still been an incredible season. 11 wins for the first time ever, I believe. And they still have Navy next week. Yeah, they still have Navy next week. And then after that, who knows what the bowl game is going to be. So really good season for those guys.
Next week, you'll go to 11-2.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. All I can say is go Army beat Navy. That's all I can say.
I'm just saying, I'm like, I'm thinking, yeah, y'all go 11-2. I mean, with that.
Well, let's see.
That would be a detriment to y'all, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, neither of us is going to make the 12-team playoff, but we'll see how it's going to play out, man. We will see how it's going to play out. But what's going on, everybody in the chat? How y'all doing? Appreciate y'all being here. As always, I'm going to give my little spiel. Then I got an announcement to make in case you haven't noticed. If you're here on YouTube and you haven't already, please make sure you go ahead, click that like, that subscribe, that notification bell. Make sure you're kept up to date whenever we drop new content on the channel. If you want the audio only version of the podcast, open up your audio podcast platform, hit the search bar, type in The Format Podcast, and we should come right up. If you're enjoying the content, make sure you give us that like, that 5-star review, and drop a comment. All that stuff helps us rise in the algorithm, helps us find more sports fans, helps more sports fans find us. And finally, make sure you write it down, put it in your phone, set an alarm, do whatever you got to do to remember. Saturday nights at 7 p.m. we are live here on the Format Podcast, and we'll give you the opportunity to call in, talk to us, get at me. I love it. I can't wait. Before we do that, got a quick public service announcement. Just want to let y'all know we went ahead and we set up memberships for the channel. Don't know if you saw. So there's a little join button next to the subscribe button on the page. So if you would like to, we would love to have you become members of the channel. Go ahead and do that. And then once you do that, there'll be some we'll have some stuff there lined up for you. Some members only content, that kind of thing. All right. So go ahead and do that if you're so inclined. We would love to have you. Definitely, give member shout outs and all that kind of thing. So let's go ahead and continue to help this channel to grow, because we are doing things and going places. So all that helps out, and we look forward to continuing to expand the channel. All right, so let's rock and roll. So first topic here, as you can see, we got a question, man. Are the Detroit Lions the best team in the NFL? Are they the best team in football? Because despite their record, the Ravens are still one of the better teams in the league. Despite their record, the Minnesota Vikings are one of the better teams in the league. The Packers, even though they just lost a close one to Detroit on Thursday night. They're one of the best teams. The Buffalo Bills, very quietly, one of the best teams. The Chiefs, obviously tied for best record with Detroit at 11-1. A lot of really good teams in the NFL right now. But the question is, are the Lions the best team in the NFL? What do we got? Transform.
Oh man, I thought you were about to play a video.
No. We
You were asking. You were asking. You were asking.
Thoughts. Yes, sir. Yes,
okay, gotcha. You were asking. Is Detroit Lions? I'm over here like, did he forget to hit the play button? Like, am I not seeing it again? But no. Are the Detroit Lions the best team in the NFL? That's a tough question. You want to look across the board and see what has Detroit done this year that Philly hasn't done. All right. I believe Philly's on an 8-9 game winning streak. Detroit's on a 11 game winning streak. So I'm gonna stay on the NFC side of the football right here. All right. I won't say the Green Bay Packers. Why? You just lost twice to that team. So obviously you're not the best team. So right now I'm gonna narrow out who's the best in the NFC. Then we can move on over to the AFC. So the battle is between the two teams at the top. That's the Philadelphia Eagles and the Detroit Lions. So. And I look at it at all aspects. The Detroit Lions are dealing with a lot of injuries. They lost Hayden Hutchinson early in the year.
Yeah, man.
They lost another D lineman. They're just dropping like flies when it comes to the D line. I believe they lost a couple of linebackers. I can never pronounce his name right.
I think they've got 13 guys on IR. Excuse me.
Yeah, and those guys are hitters. Like it's not like they're just losing small guys. They're losing big time guys. So the question is your defense going to be able to keep up with the Philadelphia Eagles right now? And I say no. Saquon Barkley, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, when they're healthy, those guys offensively can get it going. What the Philadelphia Eagles are doing with Saquon Barkley is what I want Baltimore Ravens to do with Derrick Henry, right? Give him those touches up to the fourth quarter. Because if you go back and you look at these Philadelphia Eagle games, it's the fourth quarter where Saquon just starts gashing. Right? The defensive line, no matter what their opposing team is, they're holding as much as they can. They're like, man, let's hold this guy. But if you play football, you played any major sport, period, you get in that fourth quarter, them legs get a little shaky. You're like, all right, man, dang.
That's right.
I'm a little tired. You're a little winded, but the intensity is just building. And that's when Saquon Barkley is taking off a lot. I think he can do that against the Detroit Lions football team. And with looking at the Philadelphia Eagles defense, they don't have a lot of injuries, right? The defensive line is pretty healthy. Blankenship, I think he's out this week, but it's nothing that's detrimental. But you look at Cooper DeJean, you look at Blankenship, you look at Darius Slay, you look at that Mitchell or Michelle, I believe it's Mitchell. Is it Michelle? Mitchell or Michelle, the rookie cornerback that they have. Right now, they're very, very healthy on the defensive side of the football, and they're currently leading the NFL in defensive yardage per game at 282.8 yards a game, right? So obviously, they're defensively getting it done. So I think they can answer the questions when it comes to the gambling of Campbell and that Detroit Lions football team, but offensively still put pressure on the Detroit Lions defense. So I don't even have them as the best team in the NFC.
Wow.
To even put them in the honorable mention of being the best team in the NFL. So what do you think?
So I do think I do believe that I do think that as of right now, this moment, not saying it will remain though, that Detroit is the best team in the NFL. And the reason I say that, they're on an 11-game win streak with an average margin of victory of 16.7 points per game in that win streak. Like that's kind of crazy. You know what I'm saying? You don't normally see that in the NFL. Like they're like, obviously there's a few close ones, but when they're supposed to, they do what they're supposed to against bad teams and they destroy them. So that is a very, very good football team we see. And if we look at offensively, I didn't pull up defense. I could, but they're number 2 in the league in total offense. They're number 3 in the league in passing offense. Yeah. They are number 4 in the league in rushing offense. Like they're top 5 in everything. Number 1 in scoring offense. Number 3 in red zone offense. You know what I'm saying? Number 4 in third down offense. So they're there in everything. So even if they don't have necessarily that top flight defense like Philadelphia does, they are good enough offensively to make things happen. That is a very, very good football team. And right now, that is how they are. That is how they're playing. That is an outstanding football team. And right now, I do think I think they're the best team in the league right now. Now, I could be wrong.
No, I think it's a shoot. I think if they do meet, which I think they will, right? It's definitely going to be a nice shootout. If Detroit holds that number 1 seed and everything else has to flow through Detroit, then they hold the advantage in that retrospect. But my question, still my question is, what is that defense going to be like when the lights get bright, right? Like the lights are bright. Philadelphia has obviously been here before. They won a Super Bowl in the past 5 years, and they've been relevant in that conversation up there. Detroit is just now getting to that level to where, all right, we're going to battle for a championship. They made it out the first round last season. So this is going to be their actual first season where they actually have a lot of notoriety, a lot of spotlight on them. Like, yo, we're looking at y'all to make the Super Bowl. Can they withstand that amount of effort, that pressure that Philadelphia has already been through already and win the championship already? Now, granted, that wasn't Jalen Hurts, but he did make it to the Super Bowl. All right, in which they no, I'll take that back. Yeah, they did. Patrick Mahomes beat him in the Super Bowl. Am I getting that backwards?
No,
they beat San Fran. Yeah, they beat San Fran. That was the year Brock Purdy went out. So they literally made it to a Super Bowl in which they were a couple of plays away. I think Jalen Hurts fumbled and Kansas City recovered, and it kind of was a Kansas City game from the rest of the game. But they've been there. That's my thing. They've been there, so they know what it's like when the lights get bright. Detroit, we've yet to see that, right? Especially when you're down one of your major horses, a lot of your major horses on the defensive side of the football.
Yeah, that hurts. That definitely hurts. But I mean, just looking at what they've been able to do offensively, like they're not bad on defense, right? They're good enough that they're not going to allow teams to run away, and they have enough offensive firepower that they can run with anybody. You know what I'm saying? And I think that means a lot. But there are also other factors to consider, right? And we went over this a bit before the show started. So let's go ahead and let's listen to some commentary from Rob Parker of The Odd Couple on Fox Sports Radio and hear what he had to say about it. He had some strong comments, to say the least. Let's check it out. We'll come back and discuss.
Lions coach Dan Campbell's being talked about all day, and there's no way that we cannot address Dan Campbell either. And I'm going to say this right off the bat. Dan Campbell, for as much credit and people are all excited about him, I think he's a bad coach, and I think he's worse than Brandon Staley when he was with the Chargers, who got fired. And I'm going to tell you why. This is not being provocative or trying to change the game or having cojones or whatever. This is reckless. And the reason I say he's a bad coach and ultimately will wind up costing the Lions a chance at the elusive trip to the Super Bowl or even a chance to win it is because what he's doing is unnecessary and putting his team in harm's way. And it worked out last night. Thank God it wasn't college rules. Because when Jared Goff fell down, he would have been down right? That would have been it. He would have been down at that spot. And I'm just saying, you don't want to do that if you don't have to, going for it, 4th and 1 inside the 30. I read some stat where no team had done it in 25 years since 2000 had that even been done. And again, you guys who I understand Lions fans, and you're one of them, you love the guy because you endured all the terrible years, okay? I get it. And you're like, oh, they're on the cusp. And this is the guy, he's fearless and this and that. But if you're really honest, Dan Campbell cost you a trip to the Super Bowl last year with the chicanery and all of that. And he's going to do it again. He hasn't learned his lesson. And until he gets burned, if you remember after the NFC Championship game last year, he told the team that he probably cost him a trip, and he don't know if there's another trip. This is unnecessary. This is not Madden. This is NFL football with jobs and careers and legacies on the line. He can't keep doing this. Dan Campbell, I don't care what the results are, is a bad coach and worse than Brandon Staley. You know why? Brandon Staley didn't have a team that had a chance to win a Super Bowl. He was doing that nonsense, and it wound up costing him his job. But the Lions have a really good team and a chance to win, and the one weak spot is Dan Campbell.
That was harsh.
That was harsh.
That was harsh.
Georgia with the turnover, though, to give Texas a chance.
I saw that. I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that was really harsh, though. So, man, Transformer, go ahead with your thoughts on it, then I'll respond. Because I think I know part of the reason why Rob Parker is so hard on the Lions. But go ahead.
My thing is, I understand a bit of what he's saying. Mm-hmm. It's the gambling. Mm-hmm. It's the gambling. It's truly the gambling. Dan Campbell does not listen. I mean, he looks at the analytics and he goes, hey, all of his says green. Go for it. 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 Yeah. He went 4 for 5 in fourth down conversions in the game against the Green Bay Packers, which could have ended up 3rd and 5 if Jared Goff doesn't get that handoff to Sonic at the point of attack to get that first down. But to me, it's the gambling, right? And that part of Dan Campbell, I feel like that could be detrimental to a team in the playoffs. Do you want to gamble that much in the playoffs? I say no.
Probably not.
I say no. All right. These it's literally one play that can change the entirety of the football game. Like I said, the intensity's built up. These teams are hungry. Everybody's fighting for that one title that's sitting at the top, right? This is no regular season game. We can go like, we can come back next week, be a better team. We can figure it out. We're not going to let this happen. No, this is one chip, one game, and it's over, right? Every game matters when it comes to the playoffs. So I understand that aspect, but to just say he a flat out bad coach, nah, that coach, I mean, that team believes in him. The city believes in him. Hell, I slick believe in him a little bit, and I'm one of their rivals over here in Green Bay, because I even called at the beginning of the season, Detroit Lions are going to win the division, right? And they're going to have their seat to, make another run in the playoffs. But to me, it's the gambling that I feel that just rubs Rob the wrong way in the bad coaching perspective. What do you think?
Yeah, so Chuck Brewer says he hates on all his hometown teams. That's his record. So first, Detroit's not Rob Parker's hometown. Now, I think he was in Detroit for about 20 years as a columnist, a TV news guy, a sports talk radio guy. So he's been a reporter. I guess that's his adopted home, I guess you could call it. But Rob Parker's a New York City guy. But regardless, it's not so much he hates on his hometown teams, right? When it comes to Detroit, this is my thing. From listening to him, having spoken to him, etc., Rob Parker's issue is this. He covered Detroit through a lot of bad years, right? Through the 0-16.
There's been a lot of them.
Right. He covered Detroit. He always talks about it when I think Matt Millen was the GM and they had 2 separate 24-game road losing streaks. That's like almost impossible to do in the NFL, right? But he covered them when they were so bad. So for him, it's extremely difficult for him to be able to, I think, rationalize that this is not, SOL, the same old Lions, right? This is a team that was very close to the Super Bowl last year, obviously. But he's also saying, like, this is a team that's primed and ready. And based on what we're seeing from Dan Campbell, with one of those bad gambles last year in the playoffs, literally gave away an opportunity to go to the Super Bowl. And now he has the team, again, primed and ready. And he doesn't want to see them give away an opportunity again with a dangerous gamble that doesn't need to happen. I think that's what Rob Parker is saying. So it's not so much that he hates on the team. It's that he has seen so much bad that he has a hard time rationalizing that this is a really good team and, letting that sink in. Yeah, I know he has a barbershop there still. I think he says he has what you call it? Yeah, he actually, they started the sports radio station there as well. And I think he's got a hot dog shop or a hot dog stand there as well. But yeah, so no, I totally get it. I think that's his adopted home, his second city and all that. But no, I get what you're saying, Chuck Brewer. I do. I'm just trying to explain why Rob Parker is the way Rob Parker is. So I get you. But yeah, that was just rough. But I think that's really an outstanding team there. And I don't necessarily agree with him. Now, to say that Dan Campbell is a coach who takes a lot of unnecessary risk, that's cool. But to say he's a bad coach, like you can't be a bad coach in the NFL and, coach a team to 11-1, and in the previous season, coach a team, to about 10 minutes from the freaking Super Bowl. Like that's not possible. You can't be a bad coach and doing those things. It doesn't add up. So that's where I am on that, on Rob Parker's commentary. But now let's go ahead and let's hear some more commentary on the Detroit Lions. And this was a couple of days ago on ESPN Get Up with Mike Greenberg, Bart Scott, and Ryan Clark. They had some interesting
But before you go, right?
Yeah.
Another thing. I'm not trying to back up Rob Parker here, right?
No,
the gambling, and this is why, because this is going to be one of my points that we're going to get to a little bit later, depending on how this segment was going to go.
Mm-hmm.
It's the playing with your food, right? And I say this all the time: you don't play with your food. The Detroit Lions have done a great job of not playing with the food. All right, against opposing teams where they have losing records, they're blowing them out. Jaguars 52-6, Colts 24-6, Titans 52-14, Cowboys, I think, wow, 47-9. Those teams like they're just getting them out the way. The gambling, which I'm addressing here most importantly, is when you're playing those competition teams. The Texans 26-23, you barely made it out of there. The Packers 34-31, you barely made it out of there. Divisional game against the Bears 23-20, you barely made it out of there. The Vikings, another divisional game 31-29, you barely made it out of there. The Rams you beat early in the season 26-20. These games are close. So that gambling, right? It could be that one gamble where you're like, hey, that's going to cost you. That's truly going to cost you, because these teams in the playoffs, they're laying all their chips on the line. That playbook, they're going to page 34 because they've been waiting on these certain type of calls through the entire season because they know Dan Campbell loves to gamble. So I like that. I have made that rhyme. But go ahead.
No. I agree with you. But could we also look at it the opposite way and say that some of those gambles are what pushed them over the top in those really tight games?
I mean, we could.
I always like to say that, there's what do you call it? There are, what is it? Two things can be true. That's that's my line. But
I think we look at, because they did it last year against the Cowboys. Remember the game last year against the Cowboys? He gambled and he lost it, right? And I think we look at that like, hey, this can make you or break you. Nick Sirianni does it a lot on his fourth down tush pushes. And they question him like, hey, man, come on. Do you have to gamble all the time? Do we have
John
to
Harbaugh with the Ravens?
Yeah. John Harbaugh, fourth down. Like, hey, do we have to gamble all the time? It's when you gamble and how often you gamble. Dan Campbell gambles a lot. A lot. But that's just his belief in his football team. I get it. He believes he's a very, very aggressive type of coach. That team truly believes. And if Dan Campbell was to go outside and say the sky's purple, the team believes it. They don't even got to go and look. But go ahead with your video here.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, let's go to some sound that we have from ESPN Get Up with Mike Greenberg, Bart Scott, and Ryan Clark. Let's check that out.
Pay attention to the chances of these things happening. With the win last night, Detroit now has an 80% chance to get the 1 seed in the NFC, according to our analytics. They have a huge advantage over Philly in the first 4 tiebreakers in the event they were to be tied. Even a loss to Buffalo next week would not hurt because it's an AFC loss. It would barely affect this number. We talked about it a lot going into this game yesterday. Last night was going to decide the 1 seed in the NFC. If the Lions lost, and they were awfully close to doing it, then it was a free-for-all. And with the Lions win, they, for all intents and purposes, put the NFC on ice. So I asked a very simple question to you, Ryan Clark. Are the Lions the best team? They are not definitively the best team.
Well, you can finish.
Yes. Who's the best?
The Philadelphia Eagles are the best.
Are the best team in the NFC,
without a doubt. I have no problem saying that, and I love the Lions. I'm with you. I think the Lions are a team that has shown that they can win the football game in so many ways, and the way that they execute down the stretch shows how great of a strategist that Dan Campbell is, and also some of the risks that they take that are calculated, playing with 4 downs to get 10 yards. All of those things are good. You've lost too many good players to go beat a team that still has all of theirs. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to pick up on that. Post-trade deadline, you always look at the analysis, how is this team going to get better? Where I disagree, RC, is they're going to get some of those guys back. So I actually think they can be better a month from now because they could actually be healthier.
I feel like the continuity that the Philadelphia Eagles have built, the way that their top-end football players are playing on both the defensive side of the ball and offensively. Jalen Carter right now is possibly the best interior lineman in all of football.
Yeah.
On the back end, Quinyon Mitchell has become a star at the corner position. Cooper DeJean, a constant playmaker. Nakobe Dean taking that step up. Defensively, this team, to me, is head and shoulders above what the Detroit Lions are. Now, when you talk about the offensive side of the football, Saquon Barkley can do everything that both Sonic and Knuckles can do together, right? Saquon Barkley's continue to stay healthy. A.J. Brown, you want to put A.J. Brown on that back end one-on-one? You want to put Devontae Smith on that back end one-on-one with the offensive linemen that the Philadelphia Eagles have? To me, the Philadelphia Eagles are the best team in the NFC.
I mean, you talk about Sonic and Knuckles, and you talk about two players combined, and one is Saquon Barkley, but all the carries go on one pair of legs. And you talk about a guy that's on pace to carry the ball 396 times. The most he's ever carried the ball is 246. So can he stay healthy, and can you be too dependent on Saquon Barkley? What I love about the Lions, what I love about Green Bay is that anybody can get you. You don't go in there with Green Bay like, who am I going to stop? The defense dictates where the ball goes. And you talk about the Green Bay Packers, 25 years old. They're losing, but they're winning at the same time because they're gaining experience. And when they get into the playoffs, they're going to have them live young legs. They're going to have the fear of not having fear because they're too young to know they're supposed to be afraid.
Call me stupid, Bart. I'd rather know that the ball's going to A.J. Brown than be like, hey, we don't know where it's going.
Well, the problem is the defense knows that the ball's going to A.J. Brown, and you could be goaded into something because you talk about, running the football, but Jalen Hurts is good, not great.
All right, so Transformer, go ahead, man. A lot of good thoughts there. I think we both agree that the Eagles' defense is superior, but I think we also agree that the Lions offensively are good enough to keep up with anyone, and there's probably not a defense that can truly stop them. You agree with that, or?
Yeah, I honestly, to me, this comes to who got the whole home field advantage. Who's at home? Can Philly go and get that number one spot? Not looking likely, but
right.
Can they do that? Detroit, like I said. And I agree with Ryan Clark on a lot of it, right? Philadelphia got all their hogs. They got all their hogs. They're ready for battle. Detroit won't have all their hogs ready for battle. Right? So when you're saying, whoa.
I'm sorry. I just saw a ridiculous comment in the chat.
First off, Contagious 8. Welcome to the party, man. I don't think I've ever seen him before.
Nah, man. Hit that like and subscribe, brother. But yeah, that's crazy. That's got to be a joke. Although Warren Moon is criminally underrated. But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Greatest quarterback of all time.
Warren Moon is that dude.
Maybe one of the most electric quarterbacks of all time. Greatest,
that works
not even close.
Close.
Greatest, not even close. But yeah, like Ryan Clark was saying, they're coming with all their hogs ready for battle. And Detroit, like I said, is having he almost caught it.
I saw
Detroit truly has a lot of injuries on that defensive line and that defensive front period. So, man, it's tough. It's tough. I don't think there's a wrong answer. You could say Detroit. I wouldn't argue it. You could say Philly. I'm not going to argue it. Those teams are both relatively close offensively, and when the Detroit Lions are hot, defensively they can both come after you. But yeah.
So let me ask you this. We've spent a lot of time kind of comparing the Detroit Lions to the other teams in the NFC. So my question for you would be, and you know where this is going, are they better than the Chiefs? And since we're not even quite sure, or some people are not quite sure if they are superior to the Eagles, are the Eagles or the Detroit Lions better than the Kansas City Chiefs? Right.
Sometimes you get to beat a man. Woo! You gotta beat the man.
That's a fact.
You gotta beat the man first, man.
You do.
I don't know. Hey, Philly tried. They tried. They lost. I mean, granted, this was some years ago, but they lost.
Right.
That's a tough question, man. Because when it gets to that fourth quarter and you want to gamble, I don't think Andy Reid is a guy you want to gamble against. I don't think not Todd Monken, the defensive coordinator. Spagnuolo. You don't want to gamble against him because he's sending them boys. He's sending them, and they're coming with a mission. Those guys are championship tested, championship approved. There's a difference when you're gambling against those guys. So I would say Philly would have a better shot of beating Kansas City than Detroit. I would say. What do you think?
Okay. Man. Woo. You know the type of confidence I have in Spags and his big game ability as a defensive coordinator. We saw it with the Giants in the Super Bowl. We've seen it with the Chiefs in the Super Bowl now, and we've seen how he has literally helped to turn the Chiefs from an offensive juggernaut into a defensive power. So, Laker Nation, that's real. They know how to win, and Spags can stop any offense in key moments. That's tough. But I would pay to see them against the there we go, game side.
Oh, wow. Come on, man. You're ahead of me. Damn, slow down. I think you're about
I'm sorry. My bad, brother. My bad.
I'm watching. They're setting up the kick now.
You see Matt McConaughey on the sideline for Texas?
Not yet. The kick is up, and the kick is good.
Good. But anyway, I'm sorry. I'm getting distracted, y'all. Listen, I love college football so much, y'all don't even understand. But anyway, so when it comes to it, I think if the Chiefs and the Lions played in the Super Bowl this year, I think I would pick the Lions. I think it's time.
Yeah.
I think it's time. I don't think that my bad, Steve. I don't think that it's like as great as Mahomes is, as great as the Chiefs are, like they can't win every year. And I also think there's a reason no one's won 3 in a row. I think it's just too hard. And so I think I would choose the Lions. I think as of right now, the Lions are the best team in football. I do. Because much like the Chiefs, they keep finding ways to beat you. They don't necessarily have to be dominant on the defense. They can beat you close. They can blow you out. Like I just think they're that good. So yeah, I'm going.
My thing is with Kansas City. Mm-hmm. We've seen this time and time again. We've seen it last year. We've seen it the year before last. During the regular season, we have those type of concerns.
Mm-hmm.
It's when the postseason starts, you see an entirely different Kansas City team.
That's true too.
I don't even think Andy Reid has the same playbook. Like, I think the whole thing changes. He's like,
might be right.
Here's my regular season playbook. Yeah. Here's my postseason playbook. Spags goes, here's my regular season playbook. And this is what I know I'm going to be doing against that defense in the postseason. So that's my concern. Because like I said, Kansas City, championship tested, championship approved.
Yeah.
Detroit hasn't been there ever. I mean, hasn't won it ever, right? So they can't, they don't have that pressure of like, okay, like, what do we got to do to get it? What do we have to do to win? They don't know that, right? Kansas City, like, shit, we just did it 2 years in a row. We know what it takes, right? If Dan Campbell wants to gamble, go ahead and let him gamble. Because guess what? Spags is just going, hey, give me that other playbook. Thank you. Oh, yeah, we're sending 7.
Right.
Send 7.
And you got the benefit of a guy in Chris Jones who seemingly gets better in the playoffs. Like that helps a lot to know that he is you don't often see a game wrecker on the interior D line. You saw Aaron Donald, and now Chris Jones is in that mold now. Not quite Aaron Donald, but he's in that mold. And so he allows you to do a lot of things defensively because of the attention that he takes up from the O-line and from extra blockers and such. So Kansas City's great, no question about it. But you know what? To your point, they do look like a different team in the playoffs, but I think we will see them tested again. I believe they play the Chargers this weekend, right?
Correct.
I think so. Yeah, so we're going to see them tested. Harbaugh's not rolling over, right? So, I think Detroit's the best team in the league right now.
All right, I like it.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead.
Either one of those 3. I still want to put the Ravens up there. I arguably want to put the Ravens in that conversation.
But I cannot trust. I cannot. There you go. I can't trust him.
Pisses me off.
Can't trust him. Yeah, I can't.
Yeah,
that's my problem. You're 100. I can't trust Todd Monken.
We haven't said anything about Buffalo. You think they're just riding a wave right now? Or
quietly killing.
Yeah.
And guess what? They've got Detroit next week, so that's another big test. So we'll see some games. Detroit's going to have to prove it, right? They're very, very good, but they're going to have to prove it, just like Buffalo's going to have to prove it. And realistically, that could come down to a MVP playoff.
Yeah,
I
was just going to say that because this will be the one, right? Jared Goff having a good season.
That's right.
Statistically, not really turning the ball over much, except
only
the Texans
one bad game.
Let's just take the Texans game out of there because that was just horrible.
Right. That was crazy.
Other than that, because Josh Allen had that game against you guys where he just couldn't do anything. Right. So they both have a game where the committee can look back and be like, all right, this game, we're just going to count that out. But the rest of the season, these both of these guys have been playing awesome football. Records are standing there for it. So I think the winner of this game could determine who could win that MVP. Because we know it's a quarterback award. Saquon is not going to get the Eric Dickerson record. So,
but Saquon's going to get Offensive Player of the Year, so we can't be mad at
deservedly
that.
so.
Yeah. Deservedly so. Correct. All right. So let's do this. I'll put the number in the chat, 904-219-8264. 904-219-8264. Let me make sure I'm connected to the mixer. All right, let's do that. My bad.
And just so our NCAA college football fans are up to date, Texas and Georgia are now heading into overtime. Texas did come back and tie the game up. So we're heading into our first OT.
There we go. All right, so if anybody wants to call and give your thoughts on whether or not the Lions are the best team in the league, who you think the best team in the league is, etc., go ahead, give us a call, 904-219-8264, 904-219-8264. We are here, and we are waiting. Let's get it.
Steve, I like to say that, but history just repeats itself. As Bruce number 2 in the chat doesn't like to talk about history. History proves itself time and time again. Yeah. This is a quarterback award, man.
Yeah,
it truly is. And it sucks for guys like Saquon who are balling out of control that, he literally has to go beat a record, break a record just to be mentioned for MVP. Yeah. Literally got to go break a record to win MVP. But here's Jared Goff and Josh Allen, and even, we can still leave Lamar Jackson in that conversation. They're having their typical NFL season at quarterback,
right?
But it's nothing spectacular. No records have been broken. No 50 touchdown passes, 5,000, nothing crazy spectacular. They're just the best quarterback on the best team. And Saquon is back here like, me? I mean, what am I doing, right? So, but I think Saquon is, if I'm Philly, and I don't think Saquon even cares, they're going to slow him down. They're going to slow him down to have him, rested up, geared up for the postseason. So I think so. As the season runs down.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Steve, I believe AP was the last running back MVP.
He was the last
2013, 2012, something like that.
Derrick Henry almost got it, but I think he lost it. I think it was Aaron Rodgers or something that took it from him that year when he had the 2000.
It wouldn't be a terrible thing to do a co-MVP. It wouldn't be terrible. Yeah, LT.
But that would be a good idea.
When LT won, I think he had a record-setting season that year, Steve. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, I think he had like 30 touchdowns or something.
Yeah, something crazy.
Yeah, it was something crazy.
Yep.
Like he had like 15 or 14 passing and like 16 rushing. It was something crazy. And I think that was the record he broke. I think that was the record he set. Most touchdowns by a running back.
Yeah, I think so.